Now, everybody
That's
at this
good
point.
too. I'm going.
You know how much I love Juan Soto.
No.
However, and there's legit reason for it. Like, the first thing I love about him is that he's got an enormous...
That needle's pretty high on the sackometer?
Yeah, exactly. The intestinal fortitude, as Gorilla Monsoon would
He's a
say.
ball. He's a killer.
That's what I love about him. Mets haven't had enough of this. Why Harvey was my favorite. Like, I love that about Juan Soto. Oh, by the way, you combine that with the production that has basically never been seen before from a Mets franchise perspective. So I love that. However, and we didn't do any of this yesterday, it was because the Mets they got blown out and we weren't really diving into the nuance of the game. And I didn't really think it was a huge deal. But two things have happened since. Number one, that play, and then last night hitting a solo home run that, again, to me, Soto celebrated where it shouldn't have been that big of a deal. I am getting the feeling, based off of did you see when he stole his 30th base?
I didn't see it in real time. I know what happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
He stole his 30th base the other night. The Mets are down 7 runs, 5, whatever it is, and he steals third base with 2 outs. Now, that's a no-no on any level possible, right? Fight me off. Like, where's the... You and I could disagree on swinging 3-0. We could disagree on bunting in certain situations. There's no way anybody ever associated with the game of baseball 50 years ago, 20 years ago, today, would say that stealing third base with 2 outs, down 7 runs, is a good baseball play, right? Is that like... It's not even up for debate.
There's no way you should do it. You're going to score on a base hit no matter what.
And he did it, and I believe fully he did it because he wanted 30, and he's going to do whatever he can to get to 40. And then again last night in a blowout game, he hits a solo homer, and I'm getting the sense that Soto is okay because the box score, as according to him, is fine. Whether they won or lost, and by the way, he's not the only player to do this, but he's the highest profile guy. And it's starting to bother me that Juan Soto, to me, has been a selfish player when the Mets are in dire straits as a ball club.
Are there other examples that pop up? No, that's a strong sentiment there. I feel you on the down 7 trying to steal third. That's just ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you, do you, just your gut feel, do you believe Juan Soto cares more about winning or care about his individual numbers?
I've said this before. I think that Juan Soto, and he's not alone, to be fair,
right,
but Juan Soto is the kind of player, if he goes 3 for 5 with a bomb and a double and a couple of ribbies and the Mets lose, he's okay.
Yeah, other guys are like that as well, so it's not picking on Soto, but I have to be fair. I love Juan Soto. I wanted him more than anybody. I'm glad that he's here. I have said many times over, if it had to be Soto or everybody else, I'm taking Soto. However, I cannot stand for those selfish actions while the team is in a freefall. Like, that can't happen. You cannot be trying to steal third base with 2 outs and the team down 7 runs. Like, that's stupid. And then the solo homers, not that you've got to just put your head down and not take any joy, but... Yeah, and there is a fine line. I'm not trying to make players not have fun, but I don't get the sense that Soto's bothered that the team is losing because he's doing well. And at the end of it, he can just sit back and say, well, I had 40-30 or I had 40-40, whatever he ends up with. I did my job. Nobody else did theirs. That's not the winning attitude. So I don't know what the problem is, but his actions on the baseball field, well, you want to go back to the Boston stuff and not running it out. Now, I gave him a pass on that. It was early on in the season. I'm thinking he's still getting, his legs under him here. He's still getting acclimated. I'll give him a pass. So when I criticize him, it's with merit. That's inexcusable what he did the other night. And then to follow it up last night, I'm not saying you can't hit a home run, but it just felt like there was joy from Soto when I want to throw the water bottle that I'm drinking through the TV because the team's, again, getting pasted and embarrassed by the Phillies. Soto's doing his thing around the bases because he had a meaningless solo home run.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like being down by 22 and you hit a 3 with like 1.7 seconds to go and you're flexing and you're throwing 3 fingers up the court. Yeah, I don't love that. The home run to me is a little different than the stolen base. That is clear greed or selfishness. Listen, what he's having from the stolen base perspective is very interesting because there's been players, and I'll do this from time to time, like, taking a player that I know, and I don't mean like a Ruth or a Mays or an Aaron or a Mantle or DiMaggio, like most of the stats I kind of know. I mean somebody that maybe like a Greenberg or an Honus Wagner, like just out of curiosity, go and look at their database of stats and like try to find something that surprises me. I'm like, oh, wow, this player had 22 triples, or, oh, wow, this guy never stole. I thought he was faster than that. let's not be fooled by Juan Soto's stolen base total this year. He stole 6 bases when he was 22 years of age. He stole 6 when he was 23. His high was 12 coming in. The game has changed. Obviously, now, that doesn't mean you can't take advantage of it, but I do believe that he is obsessed with anything that can elevate him in a way to get a little separation from some of his modern peers.
He's obsessed with the stats.
He's obsessed with the stats. And by the way, Sal, should this be a real surprise? Because, and you were the first one to say this, you said Juan Soto is going to take – Juan Soto's all about the money. Right. You said that before when he was still a Yankee, when we didn't really know for sure where he was going to go, even though you always thought he was going to be a Met. I wasn't sure. You said it's the money. And I was like, well – and then eventually I came around on that, but I'm like, I don't know. Maybe he's really loving the Bronx and Judge and the vibe and the World Series and right field and the creatures. It was all about the money. So if it's all about the money, why wouldn't it be all about the stats?
Correct, but I'm okay with it as long as they're winning. So that's what's bothering me the wrong way, where now you're getting toward the end of the year, and he's like stealing that base the other night was clearly a pad the stats move.
He's chasing.
I'm trying to steal as many bases as possible so I could get to 40-30, potentially 40-40.
I know.
Like 100%. That nobody can even dispute that. Soto himself wouldn't, and that's why I love him, is because he looked me in the face and say, yeah, I wanted to steal the 30 bases. What are you going to do about it? And I'm like, well, nothing. But I want to see them win. So when they're losing and he's doing that nonsense, or when they're losing and he hits a home run and still celebrates it, again, I'm not saying it's a very fine line, because I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate an accomplishment. Hitting his 39th home run, like that is an accomplishment. However, I just get the feel. If I said this months ago that I'm getting Jack Parkman vibes, Major League 2, and then you're seeing this play out where the guy steals third base with 2 outs and the team down 7 runs, and then you see the celebrations after the homers because you know he's getting close to 40. He did it last year with the Yankees where he celebrated when he hit the home run. I forget, was it Chicago? Where it was when he finally hit the home run in all the ballparks in baseball.
I think it was Chicago. I think you're right.
It was a big deal for him. Oh, now I hit a home run in every ballpark, like check the box. So a part of me likes that, but when the team is losing, the team is losing in this particular way, that's where I have a problem. Filling the box score is great in the postseason. You want to go out there, get on base, hit your home runs, get your numbers, whatever it may be. And he's been a proven commodity and a beast dating back to 2019, winning the World Series with the Nationals. I do believe Juan Soto, unfortunately, is a selfish player. And how could you not think that might not have had the best of impact on this team that played so well together a year ago?
Well, think about the word on the street with what went down with San Diego. Not saying it's his fault because I wasn't there, but you know, he's had a nomadic, transient baseball career. And part of it's circumstantial. I'm not trying to be unfair to Juan. Like, you know, the Nationals owner died. The San Diego Padres owner died. Otherwise, there's a thought maybe he would have stayed there because the owner would have coughed up the money. And obviously, when you get drafted and you're a young kid, you're in the World Series at the age of 19, you don't control anything. They control you. So you couldn't leave Washington until you could. So, 5 years there, then a minute with the Padres, then a minute with the Yankees. Now he signs the 15-year deal with the Mets here. But I am of the belief that he's going to get antsy. And by the way, if the Mets don't win and the production sags, the Mets might get antsy. I think that he's going to bounce after that. What is it, 4 or the 5-year ability to get out of the clause where the Mets control it like they did with Garrett Cole? I think it's after 5 years. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't, get antsy, and he just doesn't seem like he's going to stay in one spot for a long time. But I don't begrudge him for that. And by the way, that's a little different from what you're saying.
Exactly.
I understand that, but, maybe part of the reason why he continues to jump around is because I'm just asking or making a statement that I don't know to be completely true. Maybe he is a little selfish, and maybe it rubs people wrong, and maybe eventually he senses that the clubhouse isn't a great dynamic, and he bounces.
Yeah, I don't know. I do think he cares about winning. I just think he cares about his numbers first. BT and Sal Show on the Fan is presented by your Tri-State Cadillac dealers. Cadillac, the official luxury vehicle of the New York Mets. Felix is in West Babylon. What's up, Felix?
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Good.
But hold on, before I say anything, a prayer to those families that were directly hit in the 9/11. I was kind of directly hit also, and it still feels like it was yesterday. 24 years ago. Very tough day.
Yep, always is, man. Yes, sir.
Always is. My sister worked right across the street from there, and always a big issue since then. But going back to the Mets point, the other night when they were losing 1-0, and Peter Lazo hit that base hit, and they put in Mauricio to run for him, and then Viento hit that double. And I saw, Mauricio jogging to second base, and jogging to third base. And, you know, I don't see no spark in that team. You know, the guy, you know, something happens with the ball, he could score easily, but he's jogging to second, he's jogging to third. You know, it's a double in the corner, anything can happen. And then he makes that silly error where, you know, I don't see, and Sal said it a little while ago, I don't see that chemistry. I'm a big chemistry guy coming from, you know, watching the Mets for 50 years and watching the 86 World Series. And that team wasn't a great team, but they had spark.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Did you say the Mets weren't a great team in '86?
Come on, Felix.
You lose me there, Felix.
They had numbers back. They didn't have no Soto in that team. They had no kind of Alonso in there. They had a great pitching staff.
Oh, you're talking about last year, not '86, right? Just to clarify.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We both were about to jump down your throat there.
Yeah, gotcha.
And thank you for the call, Felix. Right, last year. No, I'm with you. I think that they have more talent this year than they did a year ago, which is why it's maddening watching them. I'm a big chemistry guy, too, and I was thinking about this a lot, BT, last night and then this morning getting ready and just trying to get my thoughts together for the show. In sports in general, I talk about it all the time. However, I got sucked into, and I still stand by it, with the Mets because it's been something I haven't been on this side of before. I want the talent. We talked about it with the Knicks actually as well. Whereas you last year were more into the team 2 years ago.
Yep.
With DiVincenzo, all those guys.
Yep.
But I was like, you know what? Yeah, I liked it, but give me the talent because ultimately I love those teams, the good chemistry, the overachieving teams. It's never been good enough to win it all. I've had enough. So I at my core, I do believe in chemistry. I really do believe in that.
Okay.
However, it's best suited with enough talent. Now, the Knicks took a step back, even though they got to the Eastern Conference Finals. Obviously, we've gone over that and can't wait to get into them again this year after the trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. More talented, but wasn't as good as a team maybe the year before. Same thing with the Mets. More talented. You bring in Soto. Who would turn that down? But something seems to be off.
Okay, well, how do we fix it here? I mean, again, we could bring it up on the air, and
No, we don't have to. They have to.
That's what I'm saying. Probably be onto something here. It's got to start, you know, certainly with internal leadership, and that will be Lindor, who was very, I think, very self-aware last night, as he often is. Again, the thumb went right to his chest. You get tired of hearing it seemingly every year at some point. I've got to play better, you know. It's on me to get this team going. He says it, and I respect that. But, you know, great players shouldn't have to say that every single year, which he does. And if he can't get it done with the words, although we did hit the ball very well last night, I wouldn't be surprised. Remember I told you I thought the Mets were going to lose last night, not look good? I wouldn't be surprised based on Lindor's 3 at-bats, the 3 on the screws, the left field, center field. He hit the ball hard. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a few knocks today and the Mets actually win and maybe start to change things. I kind of have that feel today because he hit the ball well. But if he can't do it, well, then Mendoza's got to do it. And Sal, I don't know how you do it. Here's the problem. I don't know how you shake things up in 2025 from a managerial or a coaching perspective, because how many times have we talked about it's hard to coach now because not all the players want to be coached hard. Nobody's going to come in, flip over table, yell, scream, rip you in the press. Like, there's all these checkpoints. Now, I think Mendy's transparent. I think he's fairly transparent. I think he's pretty raw when he speaks to the media after the game. But what can he do, the manager? You know, outside of maybe a different lineup, or if that would even work. What's he supposed to do?
I don't know. And he's saying the same things, but because he doesn't have the answers. He knows they're good. He knows they're talented. He's telling them that, but it's just not working. Obviously, eventually it's going to come to an end. Whether it comes to an end prior to the postseason, whether it comes to an end in the postseason, they're holding out hope still that they get there at the very least to call off the dogs. Because if they don't make the postseason, the narrative is going to be everybody's got to go. Like, I'm sorry. To me, if the Mets don't make the postseason, I'll give Mendoza one more year at the start of next year. All his staff, see ya. Nimmo out, McNeil out, like Alonso out. If they don't make the postseason this year, significant changes have to happen. That would be number one. So I believe that they're just holding out hope that they at least get there, exhale, and then take their chances. And then if they don't get there, figure out, okay, well, what the hell went wrong here? Because there is a big difference, BT, in getting to the postseason and not getting there for this team. They could get there and lose, and then we'll assess. But if they don't get there, it would be disastrous.
Abject disaster if they don't get there. Unacceptable. Heads have to roll. Met fans would be furious, and they have every right to be.
Forget about Met fans.
Unacceptable.
You don't think the owner would be livid?
Yeah, he would be. No, he would be.
So Mendy knows this. He feels this. He also knows that they are talented and they're good. I just think he's out of answers. What's he supposed to do to you?
I don't know. I watch him every night, and I see a guy who's saying we have talent, we're good, we just got to get it done. I'm starting to think he doesn't really believe that as much as I think he once did. And there's nothing else to say. You've got to say that, and you've got to project the positivity. But he's a baseball guy. He's been around the game a long time. You don't think he knows that this team has issues? He knows.
They know it. BT Sal on the fan. More of your calls when we come back.